Hey everybody, welcome to the Mandolin Bluegrass Jam Favorites class. And today we're going to be checking out this great tune called Dixie Hoedown. That's attributed to Jesse McReynolds, but I first heard it on a Jerry Douglas record entitled Everything's Gonna Work Out Fine. And you hear, there's lots of versions of this out there. There's Matt Flinner and David Greer recorded this. You can find a lot of versions on YouTube of various people playing this. The one commonality is that everybody plays the B part differently. So we're going to check out a couple different versions. We're going to check out a version from the Bluegrass Mandolin Extravaganza record with Grisman and Jesse McReynolds and Ronnie McCoury and lots of other great mandolin players. And then we're going to check out some ways to vary what they did. So you find that actually having a specific singular version of the melody on the B part, it's kind of hard to pinpoint that, but we'll kind of get as close as possible and understand what variations you can do that are still generally understood to be the melody of Dixie Hoedown. And one other peculiar thing about this is if you go back to the original recording with Jim and Jesse and the Virginia Boys, there's no mandolin. So it's kind of thought of as a mandolin tune, but the original recording has no mandolin. So, anyways, so Dixie Hoedown, I'll play it through here, and then we'll come back and check it out. So we're in the key of G, and there's the most of the variations that I was kind of referring to in the introduction are going to be in the B section. The A section is pretty coherent and pretty straightforward. So let's check out these first couple of bars, this first phrase. I'll just loop that for a moment and get to know that. So here it comes. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Go over that much right there. So we're in the key of G, but the first time we encounter an F note, it's actually going to be F natural. So we'll come back and talk about why that is, or one thing you might learn from that later on. But note that at the moment, even though G has F sharp notes, we're looking for an F natural in this first phrase. 2, 1, 2, 3. So that first phrase, just a little bit slower, would sound like this. 1, 2, 3. I always think it's good to know, start to identify when there's leaps and when there's stepwise motion. So if you check this out, that part of the melody, every single note is followed by a note that's next to it. So that knowing that will help you hone in on the melody. 1, 2, 3. And so far, of the whole part that we've played, there's only one leap. Notice that it's when you get to this E, you leap to G, and then it's all stepwise again. So that should help you find your way through those first two bars. Let's check out these this next phrase, bars 3 and 4. Sounds like this. 1, 2, 3. Do that a couple of times. Again, thinking about things in terms of when things are moving stepwise or when they're moving in terms of a leap. See if you can find where the one leap is in this second phrase. Otherwise, it's all stepwise motion. So it's 1, 2, 3. So noticing that will help you figure out how to narrow down your set of options as you look for each note. So far we got phrase 1 and phrase 2. Let's check those two out together, because that's those two phrases are doing the heavy lifting on this A section. So we're going to do the first 4 bars. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so let's that's our first half of our A section. In case there's any question about it, we're starting on the 2/8 notes ahead of the downbeat of the song. What that means is, you might have noticed I'm going 1, 2, 3, and then we're playing 4, and so there's 2/8 notes before the very first note in the first measure. So another way of saying that is there's 2 pickup notes. And that's the same with the second phrase, and actually our third phrase, which I'll play these first 2 phrases and add the third phrase just to get your ear used to the sequence of phrases. You'll notice it's the same phrase as the first phrase, just happening the exact same way. So basically, even though you haven't played it, you already know 75% of the A section. So it's like 1, 1, 2, 3. So that's 75% of the A section, and what we don't know yet is this. 1, 2, 3. Kind of a classic fiddle tune ending. Let's check out that last phrase. It's just a few notes. It goes 1, 2, 3. So I think all phrases in this whole A section start on the D. So you're always starting from here. And this last phrase is no different. That D note on the A string. A couple times more on those than the last phrase slowly. Here it comes. So 1, 2, 3. So again, checking out where the leaps are. We'll leap up, leap down to the D string, and then leap up to our last note, which is that G. And you could double it. A simple thing to do would be to double that G with this G below. So let's go for the whole A section. 1, 2, 3. And we'll keep going, doing it again. 2, 3. Let's check out the chords to the A section here. They're about as straightforward as you can get in bluegrass, and they share a progression with probably lots of songs that you might already know or jam on. It goes G, C, back to G, and then here's D, G, and then C, back to G, D, and then ending on G. And one thing to note, I mentioned earlier that we were aiming for an F natural on a specific part of the melody. Right here. This is the last note of the first measure. It's the last note before we go to C. And we're going from G to C. And if you want to think about it in these terms, we're adding that F note makes G into G7 right before you go to C. So that's a really common motion. One way to think about it is when you're going from 1 to 4, in this case G is our 1 chord, and we're going to C, the 4 chord. When you're going from 1 to 4, right before you go to 4, you can make your 1 chord into a dominant chord. You can make G into G7, or G dominant would be another way of saying it. And that gives you a little forward motion going into that 4 chord. Check this out. We stop there with that G chord and the F natural in the melody. It's got a little tension that's going to be resolved when we get to that C. So that's a pretty common thing to do, and you can do it wherever you find yourself going from 1 to 4, unless your song is very pretty, and maybe that would be a situation where it's not appropriate.